The Raiders lost a game that to say that they should have won would be an understatement. They folded the entire game away in incredible fashion, and you just have to wonder about Geno Smith and Pete Carroll. Why did they bring this together like this, and what are they doing? Yeah, that entire game was absurd, and the Raiders from the opening drive, or I guess maybe the second drive, just wild stuff. I mean, Geno Smith just careless with the football. He threw an interception to Kevin Byard on a route. So basically you have a deep route going down the seam, down the middle, and then an in-breaker from the right side, and he just threw the pick, and Byard was all over it. And it was a really great read from Byard, and you're like, all right, that's just a great play. Tough interception from Geno. The only problem is he threw the exact same interception about a quarter later in the game. I mean, this was just wild stuff. Geno, 3 interceptions, just tossing the ball away. He really sold what could have been Jeanty's coming out party. Huge 64-yard rushing touchdown, 2 receiving touchdowns for Jeanty, and he was just running people over. He looked exactly like why you would pick him 6th overall in the draft if you're the Raiders. Strong, just couldn't bring him down, and just making every big play that they needed. The problem was the quarterback that you gave all the money to and gave a 3-year deal to was just turning the football over like it just didn't matter. Yeah, that was incredible. And then even in the first quarter, a 4th and 1, they're going for it for no reason on their own 20, and all they call is just a straight run up the middle to Jeanty. No creativity, not even a motion, a shift, nothing. And then Jeanty gets hit hard right up the middle, fumbles the ball. The Bears end up scoring off of that. No, they don't score off of that because Max Crosby goes crazy and he gets a pick. And really, you saw a Jeanty and a Max Crosby game. When both of those guys have great games, when Crosby gets his first career pick, and it's just wreaking havoc all day, and Jeanty's out there. I keep saying his name all fucking weird. And Jeanty's out there making touchdowns, making plays, looking the best he's looked in this short rookie season. You got to win that game, and Geno Smith completely folded it, and I don't even... It wasn't just Geno, by the way. It was Geno and Pete Carroll. Just some of the decisions they make. They think they're better than the situation, right? Like they think that the things that they did in Seattle are just going to carry over. So that's how they're approaching these games. Like Geno is that same quarterback, or like Pete is that same coach. This is the Raiders. It's a completely different situation, and that matters because they don't have the history of that. Like you don't have Legion of Boom ties. We don't even know if the Raiders GM is a great GM. Like we don't. There's a lot up in the air here. We don't know if you have that same talent. Clearly you don't in the trenches at least. Well, you have Max Crosby, but other than him, so it's like the way that they approached these games early, specifically this one, just I don't know. It was wild stuff. It was like it's kind of hard to describe, like an arrogance to it almost, that they just knew that they were going to make everything work, and it was just strange. And one of the crazier things was the Bears didn't even really have to do anything. They didn't really have to move the ball. They did do it late in the game. They scored a clutch touchdown, but for the most part, the Raiders were just self-imploding, and the Raiders still had a lead in the first half. But when you can't have both, right? You can't have the turnovers and then get no yards. You need to do one of those two things, but 117 yards, 3 interceptions, that's going to be one of the worst games you're going to see all season. And to have it come from Geno is just, that's tough. That's a tough blow. I mean, the Raiders season now 1-3, and you lose like that. I don't really know how we can say like they have any chance to make the playoffs. I know it's still early, but that's a game that'll cook you. Because you just got to win that game. The Bears aren't that good for all those players to go that crazy, and then you lose the game. A little concerned, by the way. Brock Bowers, they got to get him the ball more in different ways. They threw him a screen. He took off for like 30 yards. And you're like, oh, I forgot he was even on this team because it was all Jeanty and Geno Smith throwing dumb shit. But man, you could see it coming from a mile away if you're really paying attention, because the Raiders' defense last year was bad, and their offensive line was bad, and Pete at the end in Seattle was bad. But this was winnable. This was a game that you could, like, if they did this the right way, I could foresee them going like a 9-8 off of winning these games and just having tough luck in the division. But the Broncos kind of suck.